Well, who are some of the influencers in the deconstruction space? I have a guest here to discuss that with me. Hello, doubters. Welcome to Dealing with Deconstruction. If you are asking big questions of your Christian faith, you are in the right place. I want to invite you to join our Dealing with Deconstruction Facebook group. The link for that is in the description. And I am so happy to have a guest with me today, someone that's been on my show before, but we're talking about a different subject, Alisa Childers. Hi. So Alisa, I've introduced you before. I mean, you are just a rock star in the world of progressive Christianity. You've written a book. Your channel is blowing up. We're at the CIA conference hanging out, so I thought for sure I have to grab you and sit down with you and ask you a few questions. So I really appreciate you spending some time with me.
Oh, it's always great. Always great to be with you.
Well, one of the things that I wanted to have you unpack is, why do you think the term deconstruction has been gaining popularity over the last few years?
I think there are a few reasons for that. I think number one, it's being defined a lot more broadly in recent years. So it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And so I think it's become sort of a catch-all term that can mean anything from simply changing your mind on a particular topic to fully leaving the faith, and right. Every spectrum in between, which is why I think it's better for us to take a word, properly define it, and then use it in the same way. So I'm kind of in the minority. A lot of people don't agree with me on this, and I recognize that, but I think we should save the word deconstruction to be more in the context within which it comes, which is more of a postmodern context. Right. That's a rejection of objective truth. If somebody's just reevaluating their faith, or getting rid of false beliefs, or lining up their beliefs with Scripture, I think we should use a better word like reformation or sanctification or something like that.
No, that's good. So talk to us a little bit about some of the influencers. Who are kind of the popular folks that people are checking out when they start to deconstruct? Who are those kind of maybe main 3 or 4 that you notice?
Well, I laugh because there's so many. It's you could almost just throw a dart at TikTok and you're going to find one. There are people I've probably never even heard of that have so many followers that are advocating deconstruction, because it's just absolutely everywhere, especially on TikTok and Instagram. But I would say more in where deconstruction and progressive Christianity meet, more in that space. It's going to be deconverted Christians that had platforms before. So people like maybe Derek Webb from Caedmon's Call. You have, just off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of some people. There's Tim over at the New Evangelicals. There's I know I'm like missing a whole bunch right now. Joe Lumen is one. Okay. There's very many, and they kind of tend to change. And Mike Winger's the one who pointed this out, that in this space, you'll see somebody get like a lot of attention for a while, and then it's like somebody else, then they're minimized, and somebody else, and then new people pop up. It's almost like whack-a-mole. Remember that old game, whack-a-mole? Yeah. It's kind of like that. Yeah.
So that's good. And you've noticed some kind of overarching trends that have been happening kind of in the deconstruction movement that I would love for you to help the audience kind of understand, maybe to be aware of as they're looking into or going through this process that they're on, this journey that they're on, something that they need to be cautious or aware of as they may be consuming content or doing research. What's one of those things that you would, or a few of those things that you would just kind of caution people to be aware of?
Well, in my research and in my observation of the movement, I'm not a sociologist, so these are just my observations, but it really seems to me that in all the deconstruction stories I've listened to and the accounts that I've followed and taken a deep dive into, it seems like in almost every case, when someone's advocating deconstruction or presenting themselves as a deconstruction coach or an influencer in that space, it's really not about biblical authority. In fact, I even think people in that space would even laugh that I would even have to say that, because of course it's not about lining up your beliefs with Scripture. Whereas as Christians, if we want to eliminate bad beliefs, maybe we were raised in a sect of Christianity that had some wrong beliefs, and we want to measure those against Scripture, against God's revealed word, and get rid of the bad ones. That's great. We should always do that, engage our doubts, ask our questions, all of that stuff. But it's really a matter of authority. So what I see emerging in the deconstruction movement is it's not the authority of the Scripture. It's the authority of really the self. It's not the beliefs that they think are true or false. It's the beliefs that are helpful, harmful, oppressive, liberating, good or bad. These are moral categories that we don't necessarily get right unless we're rooted in objective truth.
No, that's excellent. And I would want to just echo that message. I mean, again, I have a video on my channel that my audience hopefully is aware of. If you're not, I hope that they can check it out. But I would say the first 3 questions that you should ask as you begin to deconstruct is, what is the nature of truth? And that's exactly what we're asking. And then we start to look into, does God exist? And then did God raise Jesus from the dead? And so many other questions can then be answered in light of our answers to those 3 questions. So I love your emphasis on truth and where truth comes from and where is it found, and it's found in the biblical authority and in Scripture. So that's fantastic. Yeah. Well, I would really encourage my audience to check out Alisa's channel. She has an amazing channel. If you don't already, you probably already know who she is because she's just that awesome. That's why you clicked on this video. But Alisa, thank you so much for sitting down with me today.
Oh, it's great. Thanks.
Well, like as I said at the beginning, if you are in this journey or you're in this space and you want to talk to more people that are on this journey, please consider joining our Dealing with Deconstruction Facebook group. And with that, we will meet you next time as we deal with deconstruction.